Right, so we're at the SIT show. I'm with Rob Akershoek. Great to see you.
Yeah, great to see you as well, Barkley.
And great to see people in the
a live space. Exactly.
It's really weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird.
Really just want, because you've written some great stuff in the last couple of years and put out some great, and all the music stuff you do is great as well.
Thanks.
But some of the models that you put together of combining different frameworks and stuff. Are you seeing people using that? Are we starting to really get this kind of coming together of different frameworks and ideas and models?
Yeah, it's coming slowly to that kind of level, because in the past we have been focusing on specific areas, like we see that today, like maybe service management or improving the CMDB, monitoring, CI/CD pipe, all those fragmented initiatives.
Yeah.
But I see more and more organizations thinking about how do I create a more mature digital operating model, like end-to-end value streams. So how do you get something from idea to production, but also operational value streams? Like the few months ago with the vulnerability we found, like Log4j. How do we get a vulnerability and fix it as end-to-end flows? And what you see a lot in the past, and still I think, people focus on optimizing small parts of the end-to-end value stream, like improving, maybe could be monitoring improvement or just test management. But now I think organizations realize I need to look at the bigger picture and combine different practices, DevOps, IT service management, ITIL. Now we get site reliability engineering, enterprise service management. So how do you build the bigger picture? I get it's still difficult for people to do that, but I think slowly people starting to look at, we need to look at the bigger picture first and then try to see what's more important to improve or change.
Who do you see doing that? I mean, in terms of roles in an organization, if you're going to be working with them or helping them to, I mean, who do you want to get around the table?
That's a good question. Good question, because that's a real challenge for many organizations. Because if you look at the global enterprise, like a large organization, there's no single owner of all these kind of IT management capabilities. Like who owns portfolio management from a demand and portfolio backlog, or the whole development space and ops. So the first thing I guess we need to build is a kind of who are the key owners of these kind of end-to-end capabilities around these value streams, like more on the development side, ops side. So typically there's architecture involved, if they have a good enterprise architecture, maybe at the CIO office level, where people think about new operating models. And that's a challenge. There's not a single owner of these end-to-end capabilities. And that's, I think, one of the key challenges. Like in the past, service management was owned by, let's say, the service management teams, often in the beginning even the service desk, but that's gone, right? But the development, like CI/CD pipeline, DevOps typically is owned by maybe different business units with their own ways of working. And that's, I think, we need to create a community within a larger organization with all these key owners of these practices. And say, like more on the development side, ops side, security. So there's probably somebody accountable for security and identity and access management, portfolio management, finance of IT. So how do you bring those people together and think about these end-to-end value streams? That's the key challenge.
I think from the point of view of this show, because this is all the kind of service management world show, and certainly in this side of the pond, there's a lot of people are trying to sell enterprise service management, and it's the same issue, isn't it? Because like, who do they sell it to? Who do they actually reach out? Who's going to make the decisions? What do you think the role of one thing I'm seeing is a different definition of an enterprise architect. They're much more kind of organization. Good organizations seem to they've moved out of IT. But I mean, what would you say that you really need to do to make that successful from the architecture point of view?
So not directly related to enterprise service management, you mean, but more in general. But I think this related, like the example of enterprise service management, different stakeholders come together. It's IT, facilities, maybe HR for a joiner, mover, leaver. And then you typically have different persons accountable for these areas. And in some organization where they have a mature architecture organization, they think about how do you bring those different worlds together, like in enterprise service management, and create a single portal for requests, maybe a single catalog. So that requires a good architectural view, but architects have a difficulty because they have been promoting maybe technology standards and they lost, let's say, confidence that people say, the architects say this, but I need something else. But maybe we come in the DevOps community, maybe who owns these capabilities, like maybe there is an owner for HR products and services and facilities and bring them together. But it would be nice if there is like a sort of triangle with owning the business processes, like HR process, the architectural view, and then people delivering the solutions for them. And how do you bring those people together? It's still challenging. Yeah.
So, I mean, these are perennial challenges. What are you seeing that's new? Anything new that you've discovered in the last year?
Yeah, if you think about new, that's funny that you say, because you see every year we say, what's new? And if I look at that, well, we had that 10 years ago. For example, now we're focusing on maybe end-to-end user experience monitoring as an example. Or that was like a trend coming along a long time, that we say, how do we measure or monitor that? Enterprise service management is, of course, now a key, let's say, area where people say, oh, we need to look at that. So, but that's probably not new either, right? So if you think about what's new, I think it's how do you bring things together that are already there. That's coming, like enterprise service management is bringing things together, like we had a catalog, self-service portals. We see that with AI and machine learning in IT. Can we leverage AI in some areas? Maybe it's the chatbots, maybe it's about monitoring services and detect exceptions. Security, of course, suddenly is important. Not just that security wasn't important, but now what's different with security today? We want to integrate security operations with service management, because if there's a vulnerability found on a server, we need to know which application is running on that, who owns that application, and what has changed. So suddenly I think it's the integration now, that's the new one. Maybe integration is not the right word, connecting the things together, like security, service management, DevOps, development. We see a lot of trends in using more multi-vendor sourcing models. That's not new, but suddenly we have more SaaS vendors than ever before. So how do we manage that new kind of landscape? And again, that's related to connectivity, I guess, like combining things that are there in a more clever way.
There's new emphasis then, is it?
Yeah.
What do you think we're not doing that we should be doing in the industry?
I think what we're still not doing is, if you think about, and I don't want to use the word CMDB, but let's say, do we really understand how IT is enabling the business? So if you think about a business value stream, like order to cash, how is IT enabling those customer journeys, and what kind of products and services are below that? What teams support them? That model is a foundation of any organization. I don't see that in many organizations at all. They have a catalog maybe of services, but they don't have from a business process down to the application, let's say, products, down to the infrastructure. How does it all connect? Who is involved? I often ask organizations, how many services do you have? Product, who owns it? Where are the product backlogs for these? What kind of licenses are linked to it? That whole end-to-end model, we're still lacking. That's absolutely needed for security, it's needed for service management, it's needed for monitoring. So I think that we still lack that business view and IT view together.
That's a really good point, because I mean, it's a conversation. I think the hardest bit is actually getting into the situation where you have that conversation and people will listen. In an organization. Really good stuff. Thank you. It'll be really good to see, and we'll see you on the Enterprise Digital Podcast.
Great. It would be nice, Barclay, to join that.
Look forward to it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Thanks.